Keep God in the center. Keep going the route that you're going. Everything comes with patience. Don't skip steps.
You with a client, and an apology is almost disrespectful to people when they're mad, because like, I don't want you to apologize to me.
No, bro, the worst is when they say he asked for 75% down and it's like a 50, 60, $80,000 job, and they gave this guy all that money up front and the guy never showed up not once.
Go back and you fix the thing, you go above and beyond, you switch that experience, and they're actually satisfied with like the way you resolved it. You have a client for life now. Talk to me how, because at 16 it's hard to have that mindset. I mean, I wanted to make money when I was 16, but I wasn't thinking about a business. Mm-hmm. So yeah, let's start in the beginning, brother. Introduce yourself. Where were you born, raised? Kind of walk me through your upbringing, and then 100%. We'll get into 16-year-old entrepreneur.
My name's Chris Ramos. First of all, thank you for having me here, bro. I really appreciate it. So yeah, I was born in Miami, like everybody else. I was born in Palmetto. So yeah, I was raised by a single mom. My dad wasn't really in the picture since I was like 1. My dad just kind of lived his life. He did the same Cuban thing when they get here, que inventan. Yeah. So I didn't know my dad. I was raised by my mom. She did everything she possibly could to like raise me the right way, put me through the best schools, did everything, would get into debt to make sure I was good. But then I had family and friends that were always well off, and I would see that, and I always wanted that. Like I would see kids with like Jordans or phone posits, and I was wearing Shaqs. So I always knew, I'm like, I kind of want to get there, but my mom would try her best to give me like everything I wanted. So as I got older, like fast forwarding to high school, the reason why I wanted to start working, making money was because like I had girlfriends, and like I was like, you know what, I want to have I had just gotten my car. And I was like, yeah, I want to be able to go out, afford the gas, afford all, 100%. So I just wanted to be like, have the money. So then, mind you, at this point, my dad already had gotten out of jail. He got remarried with my mom. He was a Christian. He like just found Christ when he got out of jail, and him and my mom decided to get remarried and like rebuild the family. So my dad was kind of like molding me and shaping me to be the man, even though it was later in my life. I was like about 15. He was molding me already to be a better version of myself. And I would always ask him like, oye, pa, give me like $50 because I'm going to go out with this girl, whatever. And my dad would do it. But then he got to the point, oye, that's it. I'm not going to give you more money. You need to find a way to get a job, whatever. And I would go and apply at Starbucks, Target, whatever, never get picked up. It was crazy. Now reflecting back on it, it's definitely God's hand.
That wasn't in your cards.
Oh, yeah. Dude, I think that was the best thing that ever happened to me. And I never got picked up. And then my dad, I kept doing it. My dad lost his cool. He said, oye, that's it. Go get the pressure washer in the back, call the neighbors, and go wash their cars. And I'm like, oh my God, whatever. Because I needed money to go out. So I called a couple friends and I charged them like $20 to wash their car. I did like 5 cars in like a couple of days, and I had like a couple $100. So I'm like, damn, this is the power of me working. Because if I know like this, I can make $1,000. So I saw the potential in that, and I made a little Instagram. I created a little logo on like, I don't even know where, because Canva didn't exist. I just made a regular logo. And then I would just put like a menu. I created a little menu on like PowerPoint or something. And
this is when you're 16.
I was 16. I would skip class to go to computer class to like design everything, to like post. And I would tell friends in school like, hey, I wash cars.
That's the beauty of like having Instagram during high school too.
Yeah.
I didn't get to live that. I mean, I'm not that much older than you, but those few years do make a fucking big difference.
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
Instagram was the best, bro. So I was able to actually like market like that, and it's crazy the time frame that it took for that to grow. The business went from me washing cars for like $10 to like right before I sold the business, my cheapest service for a regular car wash, which is exterior, was about $100. Nice. So small car, like let's say a Mini Cooper, was like $100. So it was doing really good, and I was getting a nice amount of revenue every month. But I knew I didn't want to do that. So that's when I decided to transition to becoming a general contractor. You get me? That's what I
We're going to unpack everything you said.
100%.
So we can go for an hour. Enough.
Let's go.
First of all, your mom's a real one.
100%.
I don't even know her, but once she raised you, do you have siblings or no?
No. Oh, now I do, because... Okay. Side note, so my mom and my dad ended up getting divorced later on in life, and my dad went and remarried a younger woman. She's like 30-something, 37, I think. And now my dad just had a kid with her, so I have a little sister. Okay. But with my mom's side, no.
That's interesting, though. Okay, because the second part is like, she knows, obviously, she held that down.
Yeah. No, my mom's still great, dude. She's still, she decides to live alone. Like, she's always calling me. I'm like her best friend, so. Yeah.
And then I totally relate, bro. Kids are fucking harsh, because my mom bought me a pair of Shaqs once, and bro, yeah. My store, in a similar way, I actually did get picked up. But you want to hear something crazy? I had work experience. Did they still have that in high school when you were there?
What?
On the OJT, on the job training. So you get to leave school early if you have a job.
Yeah, they have that. So, I forgot what they call it, but they have it.
It was called work experience, or OJT was the actual name of the class. And I had a job all of like 11th grade at Levi's right here in Dolphin Mall, actually. And then I quit because similar to what the story you were telling me earlier, since that age, I was not good at people telling me what to do.
100%, yeah.
But then they were like bitching at me on I couldn't have work experience with no job. So my dad was like faking the fucking like stubs because he has a construction company. But eventually he's like, yo, you got to get a job. Also, I graduated high school in 2009, so the recession hit. So like,
wait, you graduated 09?
Yeah.
So, it was right before you.
So I actually went into the workforce because of the recession. Otherwise, I'd probably be in construction right now, working with my pops. But they lost everything in 2009. That shit was like, I was old enough. I wish I was a little bit older, so maybe I would have came up more. But I was old enough to like.
Yeah, you would have profited off that loss. You would have known what to do. Yeah.
Somebody really rich once told me you can never waste a recession. I was like, that shit stuck with me.
I wish I don't know about Bitcoin like when I was like in 5th grade. Like I would have been a millionaire by now.
I know, but I applied for a job at Cold Stone.
Oh, okay.
And I got hired. And bro, they gave me the little hat. The
little scooper.
The apron. You had to go home, bro. I tried that shit on. I looked in the mirror. I was like, nah. I went back to Cold Stone.
So you saw yourself. You're like, bro, I'm not
I didn't work there a single day, bro. I tried that shit on. I looked at myself in the mirror. I'm like, bro, there's no way. And it was right next. I was already a senior in high school. One. Two, it was right next to my school, bro. So you know how
in Miami Lakes?
No, I remember I went to school down south, so in Cold Park.
Oh, okay, that's right.
And I was like, there's no way that I'm gonna be fucking wearing this shit and working in the Cold Stone where all my boys and all my friends come there. Yeah, imagine I used to go to Cold Stone and tip. I had a homegirl that worked there, and I would tip on purpose because when you tip, they will have to sing. So I would literally go to just tips.
I didn't know that.
Bro, at least back then. So I went and I quit immediately. And bro, I did stay in the workforce in sales, but by accident for 10 years. We'll get to that.
But that's probably the best type of workforce you can stay in. Like if I always told, like I said, I was before I wanted to do anything, I didn't know if I wanted to be a cop, a general contractor, anything, but I knew right before I decided to open a Prestige, I wanted to get into sales. So I would go to like Alfa Romeo, I would go to Toyota, Nissan, and I would apply to be sales. Jobs, But every time I would apply, I would never get picked up.
Yeah, no sales experience. That's a problem with our fucking system is. I went through that shit in high school too. And even when I got out of high school in the beginning is, they won't hire you with no experience, but you're not gonna have experience if nobody hires you.
That's what I'm saying.
Exactly. That shit doesn't make any sense. Our system is like retarded until somebody gives you a break, obviously. Mm-hmm. The other part is, bro, you're like, tell me you're from Miami without telling me you're from Miami. Born in Palmetto Hospital. Wanted to be a cop, and then found a hustle that turned into a business. It's almost. Were you born in Palmetto Hospital too?
No.
Where were you born?
Hollywood.
So I was born in Hialeah. I
feel
like there's a cutoff because everybody my age, which again, what year were you born?
98.
So I'm 7 years older than you. Like what month?
February.
All right, so 6.5 years older than you. Everybody, like my sister was born in Hialeah Hospital. She was born in 93, so was I. I have a bunch of friends. My wife was born in Hialeah Hospital. She was born in 95. But then, as a CV, I've read like 10 people your age have told me they were born in Palmetto. I almost feel like it was like the popular hospital to go to.
That was exactly it for that worked, year. Yeah. My wife, my cousins, everybody.
But I say that it's funny because I wanted to be a cop too. And the only reason I'm not a cop today is because I got a commission check when I worked at Sprint selling cell phones when I was 19. That was $3,500. And that
Wait, was $3,500 when? What year?
In 2010. That was my first commission check in sales, and that changed my life forever.
100%. That's the best.
I dropped out of college, which I was only going to college because my mom made me. My family's very like
my mom wanted me to be I think a pharmacist.
No matter what you do, you graduate. My family's very entrepreneurial anyway, but they were very like, nobody can, which you're not lying, nobody can take education away from you. It's always good to have it. You got to finish school.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Well, when I turned 19, I got that job at Sprint. I got a $3,500 check. I was like, fuck you, I'm not going to school. Which worked out for me, but kids, get educated, go to school.
Like if my kids, I don't have kids, mind you, but if my kids would ask me, I think an education is good. Me and my wife, luckily, we were able to go to school and it was free. So we did study and everything was good. It benefited us, but like in a way, I've known people that don't go the school route, like, and they still make it out in life. And then there's people that go the school route and then they end up choosing a career that they have to get in debt for. And then they either don't end up doing whatever's related to that career, or they're working in that field, paying off that loan, but their field doesn't make anything compared to what they learned. Yeah, it's
so in my family, the way I see it, and my wife had prepaid college, so she actually went back for a master's just because she had credits left.
Me too. My mom did Florida prepaid, so I had like $15,000.
That's what my wife did. So she's finishing her master's in marketing now, but we're paying it for my son, almost against my will. But no, because you want to have choices, right? Like part of it is I had to pay for school too.
He can take it out. So when I didn't know this, so my mom and my dad my mom started it before my dad got in the picture, but my mom created a Florida prepaid account. And when I got to college, I already had like the government took care of us being able to go to college, me and my wife.
Yeah.
And we were already finishing our credits, pretty much doing everything, because we got like grants for being left-handed, for being Cuban. Like they give you grants for everything.
Yeah.
So when we were already finishing that up, my mom's like, hey, I think you have like money that I put away. So we went to the school and we found out, and I had like $15,000 there. So I was like, dude, I took that money out and I just used that to build my brand and help out my life or whatever. Yeah.
Which is fire. It's a good savings account. That's why I did it too. The money doesn't go away.
It's not just for school. You can take it out in cash.
100%. So, and I want him to go to school if he wants to go to school. I think having choices is important. And obviously, hopefully I teach him right from wrong so he can make the choices.
No, he has a good dad, dude. Trust me. I can tell.
But back to where, you don't need school. In my family, it's almost split in half. I have half a family that went to college and got degrees and they live okay. And then the other half, the wealthier half, down to the last one. Like my grandfather, who's made millions, has a 6th grade education, granted. Back in the day, 6th grade education is equivalent to a high school diploma now. You know what I mean? And it's
what field were they in?
So it's in Panama in cattle.
But it was service based. So it was like they provided either food.
Well, actually, technically, it'd be product based in a sense because you're buying cows.
Yeah. Well, like it was service based in the sense where they did a service, but they would sell a product, agriculture, food. Yeah, but they're providing something that's a need, though. That's the thing.
100%. Especially, I used to hate this, and I've changed my perspective on business a lot over the last few years. But when I hit a frustration point, Chris, when I was like a little younger than you, 25. I was like, I hate my job. I want to fucking quit. You know,
where were you at that one time? The same
T-Mobile. I went to T-Mobile. Yeah, I did that till I was 27 years old. And I'm like, bro, if I only, because I asked my grandfather, how'd you make money? He's like, told me the story. You know, you fucking got a loan, bought a cow, flipped a cow, and one cow turned into millions. I'm like, dude, that's not gonna happen to me now. Yeah. You know, and then my dad comes through. I'm like, bro, if I was like 20 years, like I always felt like I was born 20 years too late, and which is not the case at all. I was just misunderstanding. Like my idea of how to start a business was what I had learned and seen from my family rather than understanding the modern way of doing businesses. Yeah.
It varies like, well, so just so you have a context of like how I got it, the idea of, so my mom takes zero risks. Like you ask my mom, let's hey mom, like let's pull $3,000 to do this. She'll be like, no, that's too risky. She'll come up with every idea not to do it because she's like, I'd rather just keep it in the bank. It's safe there. Yeah. And then my dad, like I talk, just so you have an idea of how crazy my dad is. I literally come up to my dad and I'm big into crypto. So I go to my dad, I was like, hey dad, like there's this new thing. I had to break it down to him like as simple and as Cuban as possible. I told him they sell these computers that they mine crypto. So if we buy these computers, this computer, it's $2,000, pays us $50 a day, $30 a day. I didn't have to go through that. My dad's like, how much do you need? I'm like, what do you want to give? He's like, here's 15,000. We took that money. I set everything up. I put money as well. I bought all the computers and set it up, and we cashed out on that like crazy. And it's a risk that we took. I go to my mom with the same idea. I go, hey, look, even better. Just don't put any money. Let me plug some computers here because I need the electricity. Yeah. So and I'll give you a cut, mom. Like you'll be fine. She's like, no, because my electricity bill, because this. So I'm like, you know what? Like I don't want to give her stress, so I don't do it. Yeah. So like she's more conservative in the sense where she doesn't want to take risks. But my dad's, I guess, since my dad has a 6th grade education. My dad didn't have mom, dad. He was raised by like his grandparents. And my dad's always been risky. So when he came here, my dad invented, he was doing like tarjetero, which is like back when credit cards had just came out. He was like circumventing the whole system, finding out how to like, the OG tarjetero. Bro, what? My dad would tell me all his stories. I was like, that don't work today. But yeah, it's same thing.
You were born 20 years too late, dog.
Yeah. No, if I would have came like at the same time my dad came here, I don't even know where I'd be, dude. Because I've always been like, I'm very creative. But like my mom is the one that's like, tú tienes que hacer las cosas bien como un americano. Don't look at your dad que tu papá inventa. Like I have to do things right way. And I like that. Like it's the same thing. Like as a GC, you have Cuban GCs and you have Cuban American GCs. These GCs that are Cuban a lot, they invent. They'll get their license, sign off on everything, do a bunch of work without permits. And then you look at their license, they have a bunch of points. They have a bunch of like, reports on them, and it's not worth it. Just to make a quick extra buck, it's not like that. Some things are right, doing it the right way, but then other things you have to be conservative. I've learned that, like I've learned to shift.
100%. Yeah, every decision we make, so I want to be doing this for the next 20 years. So if I cannot see myself doing it for 20 years, if it's too good to be true, we try to back off. You know what I mean? Shortcuts.
100%, dude. I'd rather do this for, bro. I've done shortcuts in other aspects of my life. and it's not the
Catches
same
up to
thing.
you every time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
quick money, and it's always gone
Right.
fast. It's I prefer like hard earned money. It's weird. I told my dad said the same thing because my dad's testimony is
Yes.
insane.
Yeah.
He would tell me he had absolutely everything. He's like, I had money, I had women, I had everything, and I couldn't sleep at night. And he's like, now he's like, I have X amount saved. I have my wife, I have my kids, I have you, and I can sleep at night. He's like, I didn't have everything I wanted back then, which is what the world chases. Everybody wants to have, the baddest girl. They
Yeah.
want to have all this money, the nicest car. He's like, I don't have that. I have a van and I'm happy. I can sleep at night. But when you have all this vanity, there's really no growth. You're just kind of like chasing,
Yeah. A
the
ghost.
wind.
Yeah, you're chasing a ghost.
Exactly.
Yeah, that makes sense. All right, so started washing cars. To go back to the business.
Yeah, sorry, dude.
No, it was my fault. I'm the one that got that rabbit hole.
So yeah,
So you
started
were washing cars.
Mhm.
At what point did this turn from like hustling to like you started making decent money? And what made you want to sell it? Let's kind of cover that part.
So I'll start from the first part of your question. So what turned it from a hustle to a business? So in high school, when I realized the money it was able to make me, I decided that, I kind of want to make this bigger, because if I stay the same way and I don't like, and I don't want to say level up, I don't like upgrade, I guess, and I don't make this the right like a business, because like I used to wash cars like that, like just starting off $10. My mom's like, hey, you should get a business structure set up, get an LLC. So I built it into an LLC. Then I would look at other detailing businesses that were already stable, and I'm like, they have a website, they have a booking area, they have they have their pictures aren't like the pictures that I'm taking that are very bad, not right lighting. So I learned how to like navigate that area and turn it in a way where it'll favor me and give me a persona of like a higher, I guess, like where I can target a higher clientele. My niche would be like higher clientele, which was my goal, because I don't want to be known as a guy that washes Corollas and Civics. I want to be as a guy that washes Bugattis, Lamborghinis. So like the whole goal was eventually to get there. So slowly I would build the website, build it in a way where I knew I can sell the business. So I knew that if I built this and I formatted it in a way where like I can give it to you and it's pretty much cut and paste, plug and play, I knew it would have value. And so I met someone that told me that they're like, every business you build it in a way where you can give it to someone and they can take it over. You can hand it to your kids, you can sell it to an investor, and you can make money and do what you want. So I learned how to be able to like format a business that way. And then as I did that, when I sold that business, I realized that my business now, Apex Construction, it's the exact same thing. The format for businesses is always the same. The only difference is what you do. So like you need a market. You need to have a online presence now. In our day and age, you need to have an online presence. You need to have, where I failed in my other business, I wasn't the face of my brand. I was too scared to show my face on camera. I was too scared to really like be like, hey guys, so today we're washing X. So I was always nervous. But like I grew and learned from that. Kind of like how you mentioned you never really like talking so much. My thing is I would talk a lot, but I was too scared to show my face for whatever reason. I just didn't feel comfortable in front of a camera, but I had to like learn to overpass that. So once I built the brand and it was stable where I knew I can sell it, and I knew this wasn't what I was going to do forever, I'm like, I got to sell this business. So I contacted a friend. I mentioned to him, I'm like, hey, look, I really want to sell this business. I don't think I see myself doing this forever, but it is profitable. I already have everything cut and dry. The website's up. The booking system is up. The clientele list that I had of like 600 clients is good. And I had a recurring system of about like, I think it was like 200 clients. That was like some were bi-weekly, some were monthly. But it was already set up where you see their scheduled dates, you see how much they're paying. And I'm like, this is how much it's making already. And it's worth way more what I'm trying to sell it for. I just don't want to ask for 3x typically is what I was told. So like if your business makes 100 grand, you want to sell it for 300,000 because it's 3x. But I knew, I'm like, dude, I'm not gonna sell a detailing business for 300 grand because it was clearing roughly like 90 grand a year. So I'm like, let me just try to get exactly what I make in a year, because with 90 grand I could build my business now. So we settled on a lower number. It was like I think like 70 something. And yeah, dude, I was able to take that, use it to build Apex, and just repeat the same system, build the website on my own, build everything, but way faster. Instead of I think I started at 16 years old and I just sold it at 25, that's what it took me to get that business like right. I did the same thing for Apex from 25 to now 27. So 2 years I did it just as fast, and it's literally cut and dry done.
Nice. And so what do you do at Apex exactly, and how did that idea come about? Like,
I don't know exactly how I decided to become a general contractor. I think I might have met a client that I saw probably when I was detailing their car. I asked them what they did, because my family's always been in construction, but I never really paid attention to it. My dad's a plumber. My uncle's a painter. I have family that does like structural concrete. My wife, her dad does carpentry, tile work, and pretty much everything. But I never really got into it. So I think I found out through someone and I started researching it and I saw the amount of money they make and the amount of effort and work that they put in. They're always clean. They're always in a nice car or truck. You know, you just show up to the place, you organize it. You're just always clean. And Prestige was always like, dude, I'm out in the sun. I'm getting burnt. Bro, yeah, like I didn't want to do that. So I don't know where it came from, but the leap was
it came from there, bro.
Somewhere like
just tell me where it came from.
Yeah, I don't like. Well, I mean, exactly where it came from. Like it wasn't like my cousin was like,
like, oh, I want to do it.
Yeah, I just know I probably heard about it. Same thing with cop. Like that's why I wanted to be an officer because I heard someone about it and they're like, it's not a lot of work. You just do this.
It was intriguing. You started.
I just looked into it. But finally, when I looked into it and I saw what they did and I found out a cousin of mine. He's a GC. I called him and like, hey, like let me check out what you do. So I kind of did like a little ride along type thing and I saw what he did. I'm like, yeah, dude, I definitely want to do this. So after him giving me that clarification, seeing that I felt comfortable doing it, I went to a school. I paid for the books. That school didn't work out. I went to another school and then that school was where I finally passed on my test and was able to become a GC. And then going back to the question that you said, so pretty much what I do is I'm gonna give you an example. So let's say you have a residential property and you're like, hey, Chris, I want to redo my kitchen. I would like to redo the flooring as well as like my living space area. I'll go there with my wife. We'll walk in and we'll look at what you want to do. If you already have an idea or a plan or like a picture on Pinterest that you can show us, we can kind of already start measuring, getting an estimate. But if you have no idea what you want to do, you just want to, you want to remodel it, but you have an idea of what you want to do, but you're not so sure. My wife would come in, design everything for you, give you like a layout plan of what it's going to look like, color schemes, everything. And then I would then facilitate the work. I would look at the scope of the whole amount of work that we need to do. And then I would just get my team and facilitate the work, give you a timeline, tell you, hey, this is when we start, this is when we finish, and this is all the times that payments are due. So it's pretty much just like a manager. I'm pretty much almost like the guy that coordinates everything for you. So you're not calling, let's say all that work requires carpentry, flooring, plumbing, and electrical. Instead of you calling every single one of those people individually and dealing with them, you're dealing with me. So I would pull all the permits, take care of all the work. You're literally just going to work, get everything done. I'm there facilitating work, telling you I'm here from 9 a.m. to 4, and that's it. So it's pretty much just that. I'm just organizing work for you.
Yeah, so managing the project basically, 100%. But yeah, that's fire. And as far as like the part your wife does, do you guys run that like a separate businesses or is it just all one? It's just service?
So right now we have 2 businesses. So my suegro with my father-in-law, he has a carpentry business called JD Carpentry. So they actually started their business before me. So I would work with them to help them out while I had Prestige. So the days that I wasn't working, they were doing carpentry, kitchen remodels and all that while I was studying to get my license. My wife works for them now, with her dad, helping him design kitchens, print out, using the machines and all that. And then once I got my license, my wife pretty much transferred over and she kind of helps both of us now. She does pretty much both the work. She'll help her dad and do that work and then she'll come and do.
So she's a designer. So, but both of your companies, like
she's a designer for both.
Yeah. That's part of like obviously of your value proposition when you show up, okay, you need an interior designer. We got one. That's going to come in and design.
Yeah. My wife would design everything. And then like, for example, our kitchens, we pretty much, it's an in-house cost for me because since my suegro does it, I know the cost and I get it cheaper for kitchens or anything wood related. Since it's carpentry, I would get it 3x cheaper than your other GC because I have it in house. I know the materials. So the business is pretty much owned by us 3. We pretty much run it all. So I manage like the social media with my wife, the projects. When they have overload on projects, I'll take it under, but I'll work under them. I'll be like, hey, look, let me manage it for you. But they're limited. They only can do kitchens and cabinetry and like media walls.
Do they have a shop in down south?
No, in Hialeah by right by HEA.
It sounds so familiar.
No, we're right by Goldman and HEA. That's where both our offices, because our offices right now are conjoined. I'm planning on expanding and trying to find the bigger office for me because our team's getting a bit bigger now. But right now we're both there in Hialeah Gardens.
The name immediately as soon as you said it. I also have a B2B background. Like there was one year that I sold door to door Comcast. It was a bitch, but it taught me a lot. But I learned every business. But Hialeah Gardens wasn't my area, so it's weird. And it's on the Hialeah Garden side of Oakey, right? Not Medley.
Yes, it's by if you know where
the name is like it's stuck in my head.
Now, so if you know where Goldman is, there's a bridge before you get up to Goldman. So instead of going on the right side to go to Goldman, you go over the bridge, make a left where that soccer place is. I think it's called Cinco or something. Yeah, it's right behind that.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, it's not far.
How's the dynamic of working with family?
With who?
The dynamic you work with your wife, obviously.
Oh, dude, it's awesome. So like working with my wife, it's the blessing because not only people would always tell me, and I was always scared. People were like, "Oh, don't work with family," but I didn't realize how symbiotic our relationship is because like the moment I'm falling short on something, like let's say work, we have a project right now that we're doing, and I didn't realize that the people our clients paid for dimmable switches, and my guys installed regular switches, and I didn't even realize that. My wife would pinpoint things like that, and it helps me because at the end of the day, my client might notice that but not might say anything, but my wife's always picking up any crumbs that I leave.
That sets you apart from.
And then also it's a huge benefit because my clients will see like a family business, and they'll feel so much more comfortable because they know it's me, my wife, and then my suegro, and then my dad as well. So my dad, we're trying to cut him off of him doing plumbing because I'm like, hey dad, dude, like leave that, come work with me. Like you could still do plumbing or whatever you want to do, but now it's like a bigger family business, and it's beneficial. We go places and people are like, oh, that's your dad, that's your wife, and like people feel more comfortable. It's like an easier way to get my foot in the door and let people know that, hey, like this is a family business, like we're all here.
Feels welcoming in a sense.
100%.
Sure.
Yeah.
And is there, so as a GC, you could pretty much do any type of project, right?
Yeah, pretty much anything, but you're limited to anything that's mechanical, electrical, or plumbing. That I have to sub out to someone that has a mechanical license, electrical, or plumbing license.
Do you sub out typically, like, for example, like my dad's in the stucco business, a lot of my dad doesn't have clients. His clients are all GCs.
Yeah.
You know, like, I know you're doing a lot of interior stuff, but is it mostly like you send your people out there, or are you subbing out like the painter? Are you subbing
It's both. So I have a team of 3 guys that I keep on me all the time that like I pay them, per day, and they're like, they have their own individual LLCs, and I pay them kind of like subcontractors, but they work for me.
Yeah, they're exclusive.
Yeah, because the only reason I do that is a tip for any GC. It's you want to be workers' comp exempt, so it benefits me, so I'm not paying insurance for that. So what I do is I just tell them, hey, open up an LLC, name it whatever
you. Their own workers' comp. Obviously.
Exactly. So yeah, they're exempt. They get their own workers' comp exemption because they're their own business. So I would do that, and then I would have like most of the time, I would say 80% of our work is subcontracted. I use them for small stuff. So like, let's say we're already finishing a big project and it just needs touch-ups, paint or whatever. I'd rather pay them to do that, and it's easier for me. But if I want to make sure I'm getting work done, I use a group of subs that I've had for the last 2 years that they're able to knock everything out because they're tried and true. I know their work. I've seen them.
100%.
You get me? I'm not just going to be jumping subs. And like I typically, what I've learned from my teacher is you want to have a group of subs. So like, let's say I have my stucco guys, I have my painters, and I have my flooring guys. I want to have 3 of each of those people that are tried and true, that I have a good relationship with them. I understand how they work. I've seen their portfolio. I know them. So that way, when I have multiple projects, so if I have 3 projects doing the same flooring, I'm not going to have one guy killing himself trying to do all 3. I'll have one of each of my flooring guys there that I know are tried and true.
100%.
You get me? Because my whole thing is trying to deliver quality. I want to make sure you're getting good work, and I'm not going to be like a lot of GCs here, sadly. I'll be taking all your deposits from all these clients, and I'll be having one guy trying to kill himself to do all 3. So he's going to give you half-ass, excuse my language, he's going to give you half-ass work and not give you the best,
100%
service.
I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah.
So talk to me about that, because obviously you're in a trade that it's known to be dirty, quote unquote, right? And
mostly here in Miami, for sure. Yeah,
for sure in Miami. I had here one of our clients, and a good friend of ours, that they own Z Roofing, and
I follow him. I know who he is.
Okay, so, and my question to him was like, you're young. He's slightly older than you, but in our age group. Yeah. He's like, how do you manage to almost bring like a breath of fresh air? Because I've met my dad's GCs, and I mean, they're not super old, but they're 40s, 50s. Yeah. You're young. One, how do you manage to like? Do you struggle getting taken serious? Do you care? I mean, you look like an adult. But...
No, I mean the beard helps. Yeah. So it does, but in a way, no. I thank God when I was detailing, because I did look a bit younger. Yeah. But in being a general contractor, no, man. Always since I've started, everybody's been taking me seriously. Okay. It's just I feel in a way it's more respected because they'll see someone younger coming up and they'll be like, hey, look, this guy's young. He probably studied, worked hard, has his head on right. So they feel more confident. And then I guess once I start talking to them, I show them our process, how we're cut stream. Because a lot of GCs, man, like you said, they're very old. So that's one thing I noticed in this industry. The average age every year keeps getting higher. So it's not getting younger, or it's not staying stagnant. Right. So the average age, I think, don't quote me on this, I think it's 50 something. So, and it used to be 30 something, probably like 5 years ago.
Yeah, it's the same people stay in the job.
So it's the same people, and less and less younger people are becoming GCs. So the age is getting older. So it's a benefit to me, and it helps me be able to, facilitate, and it benefits me because I'm able to facilitate the work and be younger, and people are like, hey, look, this is a young guy, he's a young whippersnapper, so to say, and he's able to work. It's not like an older guy where it's like, oh, Juancito ya tiene 80 años, he's a GC. Yeah. And people see that. I imagine they are hesitant sometimes because they might not know, they might not voice that to me because I don't have that come across. But no, man, lately it's been good. I'm able to get work across. People see like the whole family aspect of the business, and they see how cut stream
It
everything
helps.
is. So they'll be like my estimates and the way we go, our process is very simple. I send you a link, you pick a date, we're there, it's a free estimate, and I'll send you most of the time an isometric render so you can see how everything's gonna look like, and you already have an idea
Yeah.
before we do anything, and that gives you a sense of comfort.
And I think what led to my next question, right, is one of the biggest things I took from that conversation with Z Roofing, and that you just almost answered, is how do you leverage technology in comparison to maybe like an older guy that it's still sending like,
Oh, my estimates with paper all the time.
yeah, like
I have guys reach out. Like I have subs. I've dealt with this more with subs because our GCs really don't work with other GCs.
Yeah.
It's unless it's like a big project.
right.
But most of my subs, I've had people like send me emails are normal, like an estimate email. But like I
Yeah.
had a guy like take a picture of his estimate that he wrote on paper and send it to me. One of my like a sub that I knew. And I'm like, dude, I gotta help you upgrade. So like it is different. And mind you, the generation of people, the people now that are remodeling, it's not the old people. It's people roughly our age
Mhm.
that just bought a house and they're like, hey, I want to revamp it
Yeah,
because
like
this
if you
house is
send me a shit and pen and paper, I'm not like
exactly.
yeah.
So they're like, hey, send me an email and like send me an email estimate. I'll send you the estimate and even the deposit, you can pay it over the,
Right.
over the link.
Nice.
And it's so much easier for people. And they're like, hey, I don't even got to do this. I could just press here, pay, connect my card, and I'm out the door. So it's the same thing as Apple. Like you want to make things so cut stream, like, and simple for people that it's like, there's no guesswork. When you give people too many steps, like I had a lot of people tell me, hey, it's really hard for me to reach my old GC, or hey, like, I try to speak with my GC and he gives me a huge runaround, or when he tries to give me an estimate, he makes it so long and difficult for me to pay. He only like limits my payment options. Like for us, we're able to offer people pretty much we offer financing. We take like check, cash, Zelle, cashier's check. Pretty soon I kind of want to see how I could integrate like crypto into it. I just want something a bit more stable. But like it's a different generation, and I feel like a lot of GCs, like we just talked about, since it's an older age and they're not really upgrading and becoming used, like the technology, they're not integrating it into their business.
Gotcha.
And you could definitely integrate this into construction 100%.
All right, fire. So no problem with clients. I think I agree with you, and it's obvious it's working out where the fact that you use technology, something as simple as a link to pay, just makes it far more convenient. People definitely want convenience nowadays. How about your subs, like the guys that you work with, that you manage? I would imagine those guys are older.
Yeah, well, yeah, majority of them are. I have some that are young guys that they're like, but most of them are young guys that are working with their dads. So kind of like the route me
Okay,
and you would have
so
taken
got
if
it,
our
yeah.
dads were still in construction.
Yeah, gotcha.
So a lot of them are like that. I have a lot
Okay.
of friends that I work with them, but I work with their dad, but they're also helping their father.
Gotcha.
That's a majority of my guys. Like
Gotcha,
my
gotcha.
friend Manny, great AC guy. His dad owns a business, but he does pretty much
So you
all my
guys can
AC
relate
work.
to each other.
Yeah.
I was gonna be like, bro, it's gotta be, and that was my other question that I have for Zach, is like, how do you manage 40, 50, 60-year-olds that, it's hard to teach old dog new tricks.
Also, they feel, yeah, you're saying so they'll feel intimidated because
yeah.
I'm younger telling them what to do.
Or they'll be like, who the hell?
No, that doesn't exist.
You
You know
gotta
why?
how you feel at the tin shop. I don't want you to tell me what to do.
That doesn't exist because I manage their money, so they're gonna treat me with respect. So they're gonna be cool. They're gonna be like, "Wait, lo que tú quieres?" I'm managing their money, so they know if they deliver, and that's what I love. So my best friends are my subs. Why? Because if I treat them right, I pay them on time, I pay them good. They're gonna make sure their work is good. And even if they do something wrong, I call them on and be like, "Pablo, look, you left this wrong, just fix this up for me." No problem. And they fix it up. But when you're late on payment with your subs, you don't treat your subs right, or they give you a price to do a bathroom remodel. And like, let's say I'm charging my client 10K because my sub charges me 6,500 to do just a regular bathroom remodel on a small bathroom. I'm not going to be like, oye, mi mano, déjame un 4,000. I'm going to respect this price.
Yeah.
You get me? Because that's his work. I know what they're doing. And then if I tell him, let's say he does say, okay, fine, $4,000. I can't complain when he gives me $4,000 worth of value.
100%.
Exactly. So my whole thing is I treat myself right. They're my best friends. Like if sometimes I even tell them, I'll give incentive. I'll be like, hey, look, if you finish between this day and this day, I'll throw in an extra $1,000. Just try to knock it out for me, because the faster we're done with them, faster you get paid, and I could be able to like close this project out and move on to the next one. So it really just varies on like how my subs feel. But a majority of my subs, from day one, like from the get, I established our relationship with them. I tell them, hey, look, sometimes if they set terms where they're like, hey, I need 50% up front, and I'll be like, hey, look, I just met you, like it's a new one. I'll be like, hey, look, how about this? I'll give you 30% up front because I'm trying you out. I've heard good things, but let's build a relationship. Let's lower the price a bit. I'm working on with you, but I'm gonna give you 30%. But I'm constantly gonna give you work. Look at my portfolio, look how much work I get. Can you do that? If you're fine with that, we'll work forward. And most of the time they say yes, because they know they get more work directly from contractors than they do from homeowners.
100%.
Because a lot of people don't feel comfortable going directly with them because they don't know. But as me, like as a contractor, when I get there, I can not only facilitate the work and organize it. They don't have to be talking with them directly. They can talk with me and they're like, hey, look, I didn't like what Juan did. Can you tell him to fix that? And then I would relay it to him. They don't feel bad going to him and telling him, hey, you did
Juan,
this
you
wrong.
suck. Yeah.
Yeah, because they'll feel bad. So
100%, or maybe Juan's not the most receptive to the feedback. And
100%.
Yeah, it happens, especially when they're dealing direct to consumer.
100%. If it's a woman and she doesn't want to correct a guy doing his work, it's kind of difficult. So yeah.
So how does Apex Construction right now, like, how do you guys get clients? Is it mostly referrals, given obviously the presence that your family's had in construction as a whole? Are you like, how do you market yourself?
Mostly, so weirdly enough, it's like a heavy blend of social media and word of mouth. So it's I can't really put a pin on it and tell you which is more, but like I noticed every time I finish a project, like right now we're doing a gym. Right when I finish that gym, I get calls for more gyms. If I finish a pergola, I get more calls for pergola, but most of them come through either a phone call or they'll come through
My wife
Instagram.
cannot watch this podcast.
Yeah. If you're watching this podcast, contact me at Apex Construction. I'll build your pergola. No, but yeah, definitely, dude. Cut it. But no, I mean, it's like that, dude. It's like a blend. I can't put my finger on it, but it works both ways. I get a lot of messages and I get a lot of calls, but I don't know if they went through my social media and decided to call me, or sometimes they go through my social media and just DM me, or I get.
But it's organic, mostly organic.
Yeah, it's organic. So like every time I get it, it's either through Google or through social media, or just like, hey, you did my friend's backyard pergola. Can you come and check mine out and give me a quote and stuff like that? So it's like a blend of both.
That's the best way.
Yeah. Those lead to more like follow through than Instagram, because I'll get for like every 10 messages I get on Instagram, maybe like 6 will be work, which is still not bad.
Fucking solid, yeah.
But for when it's a call every time, like a direct call, like, hey, you did my neighbor's thing.
They picked up the phone.
Those are guaranteed.
Yeah, unless they can't afford it for whatever weird reason, like which you don't call if you can afford it.
No, if they can't afford it, I've understand, and I tell people like, so that's normal. I offer financing, and I'll tell people, hey, look, if you can't afford it, you can't pay the lump sum, we can finance it, and your payments are going to be as low as X amount.
You use a company for that, right?
Yeah, we use a third party company, and then no, you're crazy. I don't know. Maybe if I could do it like through me, I'll try it out. But through the third party company we do, it's great.
The money business is a whole nother. I'm not in it either like that. But
I have a friend that does that, and I don't want to get into it. I prefer them, bro. Like, it's awesome. They work with me. I get a percentage for every like client that I get them. So like if I bring them 5 clients and decide to finance, they give me like little commission bonuses, and my client gets funded from in 3 days, no more. And the money's direct to them, and then they're able to pay me however they want. They give them 2 options. They'll give you like a CLI, they'll give you a credit line, or a CL, they'll give you a credit line, or they'll give you a like a direct wire, so it's like a loan.
Nice.
So my client gets to choose. So if they want to get $50,000, but they only want to spend 20, they have a credit card that they can use X amount or whatever they want. But if they want just a loan straight up, they can get that and use it for exactly. So they work great. I've been using them already for the 2 years, and it's been awesome. And then majority of my clients will they already have an idea, because on my website I kind of break down the cost. Like I'll have like quick ranges so people have an idea, so they kind of do research, they'll do their due diligence and know what we cost. But if they hit me with that and they're like, hey, it's a little pricey, I really like it, I'll tell them, hey, look, your estimate's valid for 30 days. Most of the time, if it goes past 30 days, the price is still in that range. You can call me and we'll redo it. It might drop, it might go higher. Depends, where the market's at. But most of the time they feel comfortable when I say that, and they're like, all right, cool, we'll call you when our money's right. And they always do. Like, or I'll call them and be like, hey, look, just making sure you're still interested in the pergola. We have an X amount percentage off. And then they'll be like, oh, really? And then they'll jump on it. So
how's the current situation with tariffs and all this stuff? I know it might affect materials. I don't know if you're feeling the heat there or...
I'll be honest with you, I might be feeling it, but I don't notice it because it affects my subs more, and I guess it does trickle down to me. But like, for example, like let's say a year ago my sub was charging me $6,500 for a kitchen to remodel it. Now it's probably like $6,800. I really don't notice it because that upper cost I charge it to my client.
Right. Yeah. So it's affecting the client directly.
Yeah. It'll affect the client. It trickles up. It affects 100%. Me because my profit margin might stay the same, but it does affect it a little bit. But I don't really notice it. Like I'm not the one going to Home Depot buying the wood.
Because you're not the end consumer either. You're also not the end consumer there. So
100%. I'm not going to Home Depot and be like, oh, wood, like that 2x4 was $5 last week and now it's $6. So
and it's an even playing field. If it's up for you and every other GC down the street.
So
all right, interesting. What do you think the hardest part of being a GC is, bro? Like of the business itself, the most challenging part?
not getting carried away, making sure that, because I'm always getting a good amount of jobs thrown at me, and sometimes I have to learn this. I've been learning to say no to certain jobs because we're in Miami. I get so many calls of people saying, "Hey, I want to do a pergola, I want to do a pool, I want to do a driveway, but I don't want to do it with permits." And then like the money's good because now I don't have to pay permits, but I don't want to risk my license. It's that, and then also getting calls of people wanting to get qualified, offering you stupid money, and managing the work. So if I do get a lot of workload, it's management all around. It's being not getting carried away. So if I have a lot of calls, I try to control myself for where I'm at right now. I don't want to do more than like 3-4 projects a month. You get me? Because it's enough that I can handle it with my 3-guy team. Well, me, my wife, and then the 3 guys that we have. It's enough for us. But I'm not gonna go crazy and overload my month with 10 projects and I collect X amount of estimates. I get 10 estimates, I collect all those deposits, and now I can't facilitate the work. So my whole thing is just trying to stay comfortable and be like, hey, look, right now where I'm at, I can manage 4 projects comfortably, or maybe 2 really big ones, and I could give it my all. I could give it my time. I could make sure I coordinate everything accordingly. But then if I do get bigger and like, let's say I have 2 PMs or whatever, I can move around better. So it's just making sure I don't get carried away, making sure I'm able to give my clients the best possible quality, give them the best possible, result at the end of the day. I don't want people to feel like how you said that I'm like every other GC, I'm taking your money and then for 2 weeks I don't even show up to break ground. Yeah. So I'm confident enough you can call any of my past clients and they'll tell you when I'm working with them, I'm there every single day. Not one time do I miss a day. And if I do, for whatever reason, I'll call you and let them know, hey, I'm not able to make it from this time to this time, but I'll be there tomorrow first thing at 8 o'clock. Like I've learned to be a man of my word. So I pride myself in that. I pride myself in the fact that I really do take care of my clients and I make them feel, even if it eats into my profit and I have to dig in and be able to be like, hey, look, I'm going to resolve that. I'll take that cost. I've learned to do that because even if I lose at the end of the day, they're going to refer me. They're going to talk good about me. And my reputation is everything.
I heard a podcast today in the morning. I listened to a podcast at the gym talking about like when you fuck something up as a business owner. In this case, with you with a client, and an apology is almost disrespectful to people when they're mad because like I don't want you to apologize to me.
Yeah.
I didn't want you to, whatever you fucked up, to fuck it up. And a lot of people, and the analogy the guy gave, which was really interesting, is like an apology is almost like, hey, I was drunk driving and killed your son.
Sorry.
But I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Like sorry doesn't fix that. You know what I mean? And it's like going above and beyond, digging into your pockets, because if you're able to turn a negative situation, this is what I got from it. Let's say your client's mad because your sub fucked something up.
Yeah, ruined
wrong fucking paint. And they were sure to tell you they wanted to paint this guy. And I'm just giving an example.
100%. No, it's great.
And you go back and you fix the paint. You go above and beyond. You fucking give them money, whatever you need to do to switch that experience. And they're actually satisfied with like the way you resolved it. You have a client for life now.
100%.
Because in some cases, like I'm not a complainer, bro. Like if you come and you do a shitty job at my house. Dude. Bro, I'll be like, hey, thank you. Here's your check. And if I don't like it, I'll call somebody else to fix it. Yeah. And I'm just never going to call you again. And if somebody comes and tells me, yo, should I do business with this person? I'm like, bro, he did a shitty job at my house. And people call me for referrals, like to ask me, like, do you know somebody for this all the time? So, and you know how many times, especially here in Miami, I see that all the time where it's like everybody's counting pennies. So they'll argue and be like, well, it's the wrong paint, but you saw me painting it. So now you got to buy the paint and I'll fix it. Say, bro, hold on, bro. Like you can have your client that already paid for a service buy this shit all over again. And that is the key, in my opinion, to be able to stay in business for a long time. And obviously you've been at it for a couple of years, but it seems like the fact that you're getting more business than you can handle from what it looks like organically, like it's impressive. And I mean, you've been in business your whole life, but for people who are not in business all the time, it's really fucking hard to start a company. And it's even harder to have a sustained amount of clientele coming in or calling you in this case, especially if you're just, you're posting, you're active on social media, but like that's like nowadays, like you said earlier, that's like a bare minimum necessity.
It depends a lot too on like the industry you're into, because a lot of people like it really does, because like when I was detailing, I would get a certain amount of work. I would have months where it was bad. So like it depends, but being in construction, like everybody's always remodeling. 100%. It's a bigger industry and there's more money there. So like I think that's why I'm getting work. And then like also I did like little tips and tricks. So like for Apex, I made sure that whatever business I created, whether it was Apex Construction, Alpha Construction, whatever, I wanted to start with an A, because Google Ads has a higher percentage chance of putting you first, whether it's Yellow Pages, anything. You're always going to be higher.
Order,
yeah, and then also Apex Construction. There's no other one in Miami, so like whenever you put Apex anything or Apex Construction, Apex Concrete, whatever, my name's gonna pop up because construction's a broad term. So I did a lot of that to be able to like grow fast and like put myself up there quick, because I learned that while I had Prestige, like I would learn little tips and tricks like that.
And talking about the name, like obviously you did a lot of thinking into it, but outside of Google Ads and SEO, what else went into picking that name?
Well, I did wanted to do so. After I made Prestige, I knew I wanted to do a name that's masculine, powerful, and then kind of related to Christ. Like I wanted something. That's why I was leaning more towards Alpha, because originally it was gonna be Alpha Contracting or Alpha Construction, but I liked Apex because it was short. And then Alpha Construction was taken, and I kind of didn't like the word Alpha. I was like, I want Apex, which kind of signifies like the epitome. So like the top of whatever. So it was kind of like we started off with like a mountain logo. And then I was like, you know what? I just want to keep it simple. I want like a nice A. So I just designed it and made it that way. But the name just came pretty much like I wanted something short, something that people remember, and that's something that seems like a construction name. You know what I mean? So that was pretty much it. There really wasn't much thought going into the name, but other than like I want to make sure like my name is short, it's easy to remember, and then it's gonna be at the top of lists. So people, if they Google it or whatever, I'm always gonna show up as like number one in regards to SEO.
Awesome, dude. Yeah, that's a whole lot more thinking than I did.
Yeah. Well, I learned that, so I'm like, I might as well apply everything I learned with that my other business. I had to redo it here. You know,
it's also of course, you learn from experience. Absolutely,
100%. That's the only way you're gonna move. If you don't replicate what you learn with mistakes, like you were saying, you have to take L's sometimes. Like with the clients, when you mess up, I learned that early on actually with Prestige. Funny story. So I had a client that had like this lifted truck in Hialeah. I'll never forget it. And I took my cousin to work with me, and I cleaned the whole car, and I told him, hey, clean the rims, I'll focus on the body. We started doing everything, and we left, and the guys, he wasn't there. I'm like, hey, I called him, we're done, whatever. We left, and he zelled me. And then like 2 hours later, he got home and he called me, and he goes, hey, just letting you know, this guy here, whoever, one of your workers or you forgot the whole rim. And I'm like, what do you mean? So 2 whole rims. And then he called me and he showed me that the rim was black. I didn't even realize it because I was focused on the body. So I drove back. I had taken out $200 cash. I left it because he had left again. I left it on the doorstep, and I touched his Ring doorbell, and I go, hey bro, I'm so sorry. Here's your money back. I left it there. I'm like, I'm going to go clean the car. I went, cleaned the rim, did it all, double checked everything. I went back to Ring. I'm like, hey brother, the car's clean. I took pictures. I sent it to him, and I took off. And then I think a day after, because he probably didn't get back, he called me and he goes, hey, I saw what you did and what you left. What's your, he was like, oh yeah. So he had given me cash, or he left the cash there already. So I got paid early. He's like, what's your Zelle? And I'm like, no, bro, it's cool. I did this because I messed up. That's my fault. You have nothing to worry about it. He goes, no, just give me your Zelle. Is your phone number? I go, yes. He sent me $750. And he goes, I've never met anybody come back, fix the work, and give me my money back. You did a full detail and you gave me my money back, and you're willing to leave. You left, making sure you ended on good terms. He's like, that I respect. And when he sent me that, I'm like, dude, I'd rather show face. Even if he would have never paid me back, I would have felt good, because I know he can't talk crap about me, because the kid came back, gave you your money back, you got a free detail, and he still fixed the work. 100%. So I knew either way it was a win-win for me. He wasn't going to talk bad about me from there. He's probably going to talk good. But then he came back, went out of his way, and paid me more than I was like, dude.
This is exactly what I heard in my pockets this morning. You had the story yourself.
Yeah, dude. I had to do that. I knew I always going to be. It's not being a kiss ass. It's more like you want to make sure your clients are getting the best, even if you lose at the end of the day. My dad would always tell me that. He's like, if you underquoted a job, if you told the person that the bathroom is $7,000 and your sub is charging you $6,500, but then there's something you didn't expect that costed you $1,000, he's like, you better finish that job and eat that cost, because at the end of the day, you're still gonna win.
No, that's the number one problem, in my opinion, with the reason why people don't finish jobs.
Yeah, they don't. There's no margin. Like, why am I here?
Yeah, they want to get the job. They lowball the shit out of the price, and fucking 2 quarters to the job, then they wait.
I'm losing money. 100, dude. Fucking I see that so much, bro. I get clients calling me all the time, like, hey, I had a GC start this project, leave the permits open. Now there's a bunch of like,
he doesn't answer,
and then no, bro. The worst is when they say he asked for 75% down, and it's like a $50,000, $60,000, $80,000 job, and they gave this guy all that money up front, and the guy never showed up, not once, took off with their money, and he's still working. And they would call him, he clicks, and I'm like, dude, I'm like, you don't realize, one, you can sue. You have so many options to do with
Yeah.
that. But then what they end up doing is they move somewhere else. They go to another state and they say that they're contractors and they're not. And bro, people deal with that here in Miami like you tú no te imaginas. And it's insane, bro. I feel bad for them.
Honestly, I respect that you're in that trade because honestly, like I ran the fuck away from that shit when I got old enough that my dad kind of got back on his feet. I was like, bro, leave me in AC and sales because I saw the fucking chasing people down to pay you and the
Yeah,
fucking
bro.
employees leaving shit dirty always. Like that's one part that I still to this day don't understand. Like I fight with my dad up. I'm like, bro, it's not the hard. And my dad's a fucking neat freak. But like
That's why I'm actually trying to have.
I hear people bitching on top of the phone. Like, I don't know what they.
Yeah. They leave a Corona bottle there and like some.
Why are they even fucking drinking?
No, dude. I'm telling you, like, I'm actually one thing I was trying to do to circumvent that to make sure I have people because I can't be everywhere at the same time. I could try. Dennis's dad, Manny, he's worked in construction, but he's like retired now. He doesn't really do much. Like, he just works at his tile store, and he's like, hey, I want to work with you. So I wanted to hire him, make him my head PM, and just send them everywhere because that guy's detailed. He's so good. Yeah. I'll be talking with him and he's like, hey, we got to do this. Or before we leave everything, it's always spick and span. He's always cleaning it up, making sure it's good. So like people like that, those are the type of people I need because mind you, I can do everything, but like having him on site, he's another version of me essentially. So he's going to make sure he's looking out for my business and my reputation. He's going to make sure everything's getting done. And I could do that at another project, having multiple people there. So it's not hard being a GC. It's just, you have to be organized. You have to be upfront and blunt with your subs. You tell them, this is what I expect from you. If you don't, we can't work together. But you know, it's not hard. It's just organization. And my wife and you know my team makes that easier for me because alone there's no way I would do it.
How important is having a good team?
Oh my God, dude, that's the whole. Okay, I've always been a testament to you can't do this alone. When I was young, I'd always tell my dad I like doing things alone. I don't need help. I could figure it out. And my dad's like, if you live like that, you're never gonna get far.
I agree.
100%. And my dad would be like, you're not gonna get far. And I'm like, I could do this by myself. And my dad's like, dale, métele. And I would go and try to do things on my own. That's how I took the L on the car that I was talking about for Prestige because me and my dad have an auctions license. So we buy and flip cars. That was like a little thing we did. And when I went to go see that car, my dad's like, wait for me. I'm going to take our boy that's a mechanic. I'm like, Dad, this is like my 5th car. I know what I'm doing. Pulled up. I'm like, yo, this car is amazing. I bought the car. Went back. Little did I know the transmission was blown. The engine was bad. There was like a 2x4 holding the glass behind the panel. The car was a wreck, but I'm thinking this car's great. It turns over. Little did I know when we got home, nothing. Wouldn't want to start. Wouldn't want everything. And we took it to get repaired. And like the repairs are like $6,000. And I spent $6,000 on the car. Yeah. And I had like $8,000 to my name. I'm like, I gotta sell it. I gotta take a loss. I sold the car for like $3,000 because it wasn't worth it. And man, after that, I'm like, dude, I'm gonna let myself be guided. I have to because if I act like I know everything, I'll never get far. To this day, I'm still learning. I act like I people younger than me, other GCs coming up, or like other GCs that have been in the game forever. I like talking with them and I even help them. Like I met GCs like we talked about earlier that they want to become a GC or they're in the process of it or they are a GC already. And like, they're like, hey, my business isn't as cut stream as you. What system do you use? Or like, how do you reach out to clients? Like, hey, how do you get on Google? And like, I'll help them and not charge them because if I can teach it, that means I know it really well. So that makes me feel good in a way. And also helping them out, I know they're going to help me down the road. If I need a sub, I'll be like, hey, dude, who do you use for X or Y? And then they're going to be like, hey, here, use this, use my guy. So I feel like helping people is a great thing. When people get stingy and like you help them out and then they don't want to help you back. Like I've had that where I've helped other contractors and like I've helped them start up and then they kind of get stingy with me or they don't want to talk like they're above or like it's competition. I'm like, dude, we're in Miami. This place is huge. There's enough work for everybody. So I've learned to really like connect myself with, you know, either being in I'm a part of the Miami Lakes Chamber of Commerce and I get around, there's other GCs there, there's other groups of people, AC guys, and we kind of all talk and get together and like we give each other our trade knowledge secrets. It's not like that stuff's hidden because you can go on YouTube and look it up. But if you can sit here and talk with me and teach me, like, bro, that's super beneficial. I'll probably show up, buy you gifts or whatever. We talk and we grow together. So
and you know, I talk about that so much. One of my partners and one of my businesses, he's older. Today's his birthday actually, he turned 47. He's a little old school and it's very like, no, you can't tell him what we're doing. All right, well, let me explain something to you. Everything we do, it's not fucking top secret, bro. Other people,
dude, everybody's gonna know it.
2, I could tell you step by step. If you wanted to steal my shit, you probably still wouldn't be able to because it's not just knowing, it's also knowing how to apply. You know, I can give you the secrets, you still need the implementation of the secrets.
Some people won't even apply it.
You need to implement that shit.
I can show you. I've had people where I've sat down and I'm like, they're like, dude, like I have friends that I love them to death, but godly, like they're like, bro, the market is so bad, bro. It's hard for me to make work, like for me to get work, bro. Like the government, any excuse they could pull out, they'll pull it out,
Blame
right?
it on everything.
Everything. And then I'm like, dude, do you have $2,000? Yeah, I do. All right, let's go to the auction. Let's flip it. Let's do this. No, bro, that's not gonna work, or no, I can't do that. It's just like I'm not gonna do that. I'd rather do something else. I'm like, guys, look, and I'll show them step by step that people, because our auction license, we have it through my uncle, and I would sell the auction license to people.
Yeah.
But like my close friends, I'm like, dude, you can use mine. I won't charge you a dime. Let's just go buy. I'll help you get your money up. And they'll always come up with an excuse on why they don't want to do it. And I'm showing them. And then other people are like, we have people lined up that we would charge $5,000 to sign them up to be a part of our dealer, to be able to buy cars through us. You get me? And they pay $5,000 for that. And you're getting it for free. And you're not taking that ability to use it. Yeah. Some people, you can hand them your formula and they'll just look at it and be like, I'll apply it. And they put it in their pocket and they never look at it again.
Implement it, yeah. Exactly. But then the flip side of it is the people that you do help, but for the most part, you're gaining allies all around the place, and you'll never know when you need somebody to give you a hand, bro. And
they might end up leaving that and working for you.
It's a really small world too. Wait, 1 second, my bad, bro.
No, don't worry about it, brother.
All right, so I told my wife I'm in a podcast. She's texting me the same thing.
It's okay.
Yeah, you don't have kids, Joey. You have a kid.
You know, dude, I can imagine. No, bro. I mean, right now I want to have a kid. I'm dying to have a kid, dude. Honestly, I think it's a blessing. After I saw my dad have my sister recently, dude, I fell in love with kids, bro. Like she gave me baby fever nasty, bro. What I see her and I just want to take her out. We went to like rent a house, like a little house in the Keys, and we took her on the jet ski, bro. And like she literally looks like me. She looks nothing like my dad. Awesome. Obsessed with her, dude. And I was like, I told him, I was like, dude, I want to start trying soon because I'm young. I feel like it'd be a good time to do it now.
You're in a good age. Your wife's your age.
So yeah, no, we're stable, dude. That was my main thing. My main concern was making sure I could provide for the kid, because like my mom, like God bless her, she's awesome. She took care of me, did everything she had to do. But like her finances were never always right. You know, she had her problems. She wasn't able to like manage her money right. She would get into debt. So I knew that was going to be a factor in my life, and I don't want to replicate that. So I was like, I got to make sure that I give my kids the best. I'm able to break
the cycle.
Yeah. You know, make sure I could be financially stable, make sure that my kids don't have the struggle, but then also find a way where if I do give them stuff, I don't want them to become spoiled, because I saw the flip side of that. So it's like, I'm ready for that. I really want to like navigate that, see how it's going to look, see how it's going to feel. It's just trying to figure that out now. I want to see where I'm going to be when I get there, but I'm dying for that, dude. I'm dying for that trip.
Kids, somebody told me once, kids come with a loaf of bread under their arm. So whatever stability you have now, it's going to get even better once you have a kid. So my business had just, bro, actually it was the worst fucking possible time to have a kid. I just started the business when my wife got pregnant. Oh. And
wait, the insurance business?
Yeah, I had just started.
Oh, so okay. So like 4
years
ago.
I started 2020 in February. I found out we were having a baby in May. Kid was born, my son was born January of 21. And
you were already at the property over there in Miami Lakes at that time? Oh, okay. So you've been there for a while.
I moved in 2018.
Oh, you probably got like around $300,000 what you got it for the house.
I will tell you off camera. Check it out.
Yeah. We can't talk about them. I'm sorry.
But yeah, I got a great deal on the house. But point being is the amount of hustling that you have now, the amount of vision, you think you're good and you are good. Somebody told me what I'm about to tell you is that whatever you think you're doing now, once you see that baby, that's when te vas a querer comer el mundo. Yeah. And my reaction to the person that told me that was like,
you're tripping.
Like, I'm fucking grinding, bro. There's no way that there's another level above, like, the intensity. I mean, I knew there were levels above me, you know, but, and bro, he could have been more spot on, bro. Because the moment that my son was born, I don't know what the fuck went off in my head, but
everybody says that. I'm dying for that
my level of intensity was at the top of the meter, bro. I got a whole new meter above that I was able to tap into, and bro, it changed my life overnight. That sounds like a blessing, dude. I really want to go through that. I'm dying for that. That's what I'm pumped about, believe it or not. It's the best feeling, bro. Everybody's like, dude, you're ready. When I have a kid, I'm like, dude, I swear to God, I think it's awesome. Like, it seems like something I want to venture into, and I like risk. Like, I like taking risks, dude. And I feel like that's not really a risk. It's gonna be more like it's just gonna make me feel good. I'm gonna have like something to come home to. I'm gonna have something. And now I'm gonna be like, my whole thing is building a legacy. I want to leave something for. That was my biggest thing. We're so alike on that. Like, I was even like. God
And you have a boy?
Yeah, we're a baseball.
It's a little you, dude.
We were at baseball today at 12. You know, he's starting to get into sports. It's the fucking best feeling ever. Yeah, dude. All right, last question to wrap up. If you had to go back to you at 16 years old washing cars, $10, $20, you want to take girls out, and you could give yourself one advice knowing what you know now at 27, what would that advice be?
Ooh. I had something funny to say, but I didn't want to say it. Let me see. Keep God in the center. 100%. That's number one. Keep going the route that you're going. Everything comes with patience. Don't skip steps. And be patient. That's it. Be patient. Keep God at the center. That was my problem. I was very impatient. I knew where, like, I always had the vision. I knew I would be here one day. Like, not in front of you specifically before, but I knew I was going to be in a certain place in my life. I always knew it. I'm like, I know what I deserve. I know I'm going to be. But I was trying to always rush it. And when I'd skip steps and not take baby steps and rush it, I would hit my head and fall back even further. Yeah. And then my other thing is I never put God first. I was always like living self-centered. I didn't have purpose. I always thought like everything was about me. And then once I got married and I was able to like realize, you know, my life is not about me, it's about my wife, and being able to have someone to live for, someone to sacrifice things for, that really put things in perspective, and it made me not so egotistical. It allowed me to realize like, hey, look, your job to be here is to take care of your family and provide, and that's it. Love your wife, start a family, and continue your legacy. Once I realized that, I'm like, that's what I want to do. My thing is I always wanted to skip steps, bro, and I had to learn to be patient. Now I'm still learning patience, but I definitely would tell myself, calm down and keep God first.
Well, you're doing really fucking good, bro. 27, I was freaking the worst time of my life. I say the most dangerous age for a male, you just got a head start, so you're good. Is your age right now.
27?
27, 28, 29, because that's when, like, when you're in your early 20s, it's like, okay, you're young, you have time. Then when you start hitting your mid to late 20s, it's like, all right, I'm about to be fucking 30, and this is not a joke anymore. I got to figure out what I'm going to do the rest of my life. And
I had that panic attack at 20, not even like, I was like, what, I'm 27 now. I had it like at 24, 25, because I saw myself detailing and I knew I wasn't passing my test. And I said, I don't want to be like, I don't want my kids to see me as a detailer.
Yeah, watching cars. Yeah.
You get me? So that put a shock in me. And then also my wife too. My wife's very tough, bro. She's like, she's a little skinny thingy, but she'd always tell me, like, you're going to keep washing cars every day. And it would hurt me, but it molded me. And I wouldn't really take it out on her. I'd be like, damn, you're right, bro. So like I would go and like study that day. Totally and relate, brother. It's the best, bro.
I can totally relate, bro. Yeah, my hardest critic to this day, and it's a blessing, is my wife.
Dude,
I can lie to her because I lay my head to sleep every day next to her, bro. So yeah, to this day, dude.
Yeah, you can't lie to her because she knows, like,
she's, you can flub what you're doing
with your boys and lie. But her,
I never told my parents that I was, struggling. Like, as far as they're concerned, I love my life and everything's all good and dandy. But yeah, at home she knows, and it's a blessing that you have a spouse that's supportive and that's challenging. Yeah, because that's always going to keep you on your toes, which will only make it better.
She's the best thing in my life, honestly. Like, well, she's the reason why I continue. You're the best thing that's ever happened to me. You know that. We talk about this all the time. But I would never be where I'm at today if it wasn't for you, Bubs. I love you with all my heart, all my life.
Awesome, dude. Well, you're doing a really good job, bro.
I appreciate it, man.
Bro, I met you today, but keep kidding.
It's not the last time. I'm gonna walk across the street, knock on your door when I go see Dennis.
I'm always there, bro. No, actually, I'm really over there, actually. If you see that escalator in the front, go knock on my door, dude. But, bro, thanks for coming on, bro.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.